Good morning, friends. Happy Saturday. So welcome to my living room as we're all under the stay-at-home rule here in Berks County, Pennsylvania. And I'm going to share a little bit about what God has been speaking to me about taking life for granted. This is something that He had laid on my heart long before any of this COVID-19 started, but it feels even more relevant now. And part of it is, just even taking the little moments for granted. The, brunch with my nephew a couple weeks ago, which I didn't realize at the time was going to be my last restaurant meal out in a, brunch in a diner. But, just treasuring that, even that memory now a little bit stronger. It's taking all of the little things for granted, going out to restaurants, just jumping in our car to go to the grocery store 5 times a week because I forgot this thing or that thing. And all of those things are not available to us right now. But beyond that, part of what God has kind of been speaking to me pretty intensely is about taking my gifts for granted and really encouraging others to look at ways that they've been doing that as well. So I posted this a couple days ago or yesterday that I truly believe that each one of us has been given specific gifts, specific circumstances in our lives, specific challenges that we have overcome, just specific paths that He has guided us down and that have led us to exactly where we are today. And each one of us is meant to make use of every one of those gifts, whether they're good circumstances or not great circumstances, to just reach out and encourage and uplift others around us. And this brings me back to another thing that God laid on my heart several months ago, and I even started preparing a blog post, and it didn't feel like the right time. And, it seems like it was saved for such a time as this, for right now today. It's in Matthew 25. I'm going to read from the NASB version, but it starts at verse 14, and Jesus is telling a parable. And He says, "For it is just like a man about to go on a journey, who called his own slaves and entrusted his possessions to them. To one He gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his own ability, and he went on his journey. Immediately, the one who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and gained 5 more talents. In the same manner, the one who had received the 2 talents gained 2 more. But he who received the 1 talent went away and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money." This was Matthew 25, verses 14 through 18. And just for context, a talent, what they're referring to is actually a unit of money in that time. I'm not sure of the exact value of that, but it was a considerable value, and the master entrusted it to his slaves and gave them to make use of during his time on his journey. And again, it is talent was a unit of money. However, I don't think it's an accident that in some translations they use the word talent. And that's something that, I want to talk about today, that whether it's money, whether it's your ability to make really fabulous meals, whether it's a dream in your heart that, to just make use of your artistic abilities in a certain way, or just to make a home for your family and have time to, spend with your friends, whatever it is that God has laid on your heart, and whatever the skills He has given you to do those things are not an accident. These are talents that He has given to you. And so I want to challenge everyone today to really start taking a look at the talents that you have, and seeing what you've done with them. Did you perhaps immediately, like the one who was given 5, go out and use them in the marketplace and trade with them and gain 5 more? Then that is amazing. That's great. Perhaps you're like the one who was given 2, who it seems, maybe a bit later than the one. It doesn't say immediately, but in the same manner, he went out with his 2 talents. He, used them and then also gained 2 more. Or perhaps you're like the one, the servant who received the 1 talent and dug a hole and hid it. And I really want to speak to you in particular today, because I feel like this was me, that I just dug a hole and hid all the talents that God had given me. The ones that I just kind of felt pressure to make use of and ignored. But here's the thing. It's not too late to go out and dig it up and put it to the use that was intended. So that's my challenge to you today, that your talent, whatever it is, whether it's 1 or 2 or 5 or 20, that you start to really take this time when we have a little more, isolation, a little more introspection, a little more time to just take a look at our lives and what is important and what isn't. Take a look at the things that we miss the most in this, self-isolation. To take a look at the things that we're like, man, when I get out of here, when I'm enjoying being safe at home, but when I get out of here, the first thing I can't wait to do is to make use of this, and just really start taking a look at those during this time. So in Matthew 25, Jesus continues, "Now after a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled accounts with them. The one who had received the 5 talents came up and brought 5 more talents, saying, 'Master, you entrusted 5 talents to me. See, I have gained 5 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one who had received the 2 talents came and said, 'Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. See, I have gained 2 more talents.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and faithful slave. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.'" Again, that's Matthew 25, 19 through 23. And, Jesus is talking here about, these slaves in this parable that were given tools, given gifts from their master, who went out and just made use of whatever they had already and multiplied it. And how did they do that? They did that by, investing them in the world around them. They did that by using the skills and abilities that they already had to go and trade with others in the marketplace, and, just make use of them and grow in the process. And I'm sure by the end of that, he says, you were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. So by the end of that, they had grown in their abilities and skills, that they had shown their faithfulness with the things that they had been given. And the master said, "Great job. I'm going to give you more responsibility. And I'm going to trust that I know you're going to do great things with that." So I also had reached out to people on different social media and asked if there were any questions that people had around this. And I did get 2. One of them was, how do you simultaneously live in the moment and live with the big picture in mind? And that's it really kind of relates to this for me, is that you have, the end in sight. I believe in Jesus, obviously, and I believe that when I'm no longer walking this earth, that I will be safe with him, and there will be no pain, and all of the things the Bible promises us about that. But while I live with that view, I live in the world right now where that's not always the case. When I look around, there are people hurting, there are people dying, there are people really sick and scared, and I want to really understand that and honor the people who are, scared, who are hurting, who are sick, who are really oppressed, in different situations. And yet I also want to acknowledge that with all of these, that God is still